Do you horrifically throw your Deadlock games? You own your lane and you dominate the mid game, but just as you go to approach the team's base, you look up. Your whole team's dead. That juicy lead you earned is gone in an instant. Your face is in your palms and you wonder, what could I have done better? Let me introduce you to the Meatball. Hey everybody, it's Shizug. Welcome back to Breaking the Deadlock. If you don't know what Breaking the Deadlock is, check the description. This video today is all about the Midboss and his Rejuvenator. We're going to be going into what the Midboss is and why we want to fight him. We're going to talk about when the right time to take the Midboss fight is. And we're going to talk about who in the hero pool can steal or secure the Rejuvenator as it drops. Alright, let's get into things. Who is the Midboss? The Midboss might have different names for you as holdovers from other games, Roshan, Baron, and then my favorite, the Meatball. The Midboss is an extremely large neutral creep in the middle center of the map, down in the basement. And the Midboss drops the Rejuvenator on death. Midboss is a map objective that each team could go for when it's advantageous for them to do so. He's got a huge HP pool, so usually you need more people than just one to fight him and actually take him down effectively. He's got a respawn timer of 7 minutes and spawns for the first time at 10 minutes. And you might hear him roaring when he's spawning or also being fought. I believe the marker right now is half HP. That kind of gets into the next part where a lot of things are subject to change, but a lot of the core concepts about the thinking behind when you want to take Midboss is going to remain constant for this video and into the future. Next, what's the Rejuvenator? The Rejuvenator is the drop from the Midboss once he dies. If captured, it gives each of your team members a respawn token that lasts 3 minutes. What this respawn token does is if you die, you'll respawn more quickly than what you normally would otherwise. It gives some other minor buffs as well that are kind of changing as the patch notes go on. And also, it's going to buff troopers for your team as well. Your troopers are going to be able to shove waves more effectively, and they will naturally shoved into the other team's base. This Rejuvenator crystal that you've been seeing in the background that kind of drops down slowly, it can be stolen by either team. If the team that takes down Midboss and actually is the one that kills him isn't necessarily always the one that captures the crystal. The crystal is what you're fighting for. The crystal is the objective of going for Midboss. You don't necessarily need the last hit on the actual dude, but you do need to melee the crystal as it hits the ground. Securing the Rejuvenator, or rather stealing it, can absolutely turn the tide of a game. This is the single best map objective that's in the game besides hitting the other team's patron. Okay, so if it's the best map objective in the game, why don't I just rush it at 10 minutes? Why don't I just get it done with? Well, there's a few different problems with that. People hear the roar, they're going to contest you, and if you're early on, you're not going to be able to do it fast enough in order to secure it. And it might not be efficient for you to go for Midboss if you can't get through his shield that's constantly regenerating, and you're able to crack into his HP pool. Okay, so if I don't rush him, when do I go take him? Some of the keys that I look for when I want to go take Midboss is I try to get picks before I go in and try to take the fight. When I feel like I'm in an advantageous spot, I'll go look for kills on the map. I'll convert those kills into a Midboss fight. Whether that means just killing a Midboss and securing the crystal uncontested, or it means taking a 6v5 or a 6v4 if you get the picks beforehand. Something also to keep an eye out for is the other team's composition and what heroes have potential to steal. In a little bit, we're going to go into which heroes have abilities that are tuned in order to turn the Rejuvenator fight for their favor. So you want to go take Midboss when you're in a position to do so, whether that means you have a net worth lead and you want to force a fight, or you are behind and there's enough picks to be able to secure the Rejuvenator after you kill him. I want to reiterate that the most important part about the Midboss fight is securing the Rejuvenator. It doesn't matter if you're the one to kill him, you need to hit the Rejuvenator. That is the objective that you need out of that fight. So how do you actually go and take the Midboss? As I said, you need more than one person typically to dish out damage long enough to get through his regenerating shield. So typically you need more than one teammate there, or as many as possible is always great. You're going to have to get through that damage check on that shield, and then once he's dead, you're going to need to make sure to capture the Rejuvenator after the fact. So sometimes it's helpful to have people up top in the room above to be able to look out for stealers that are going for the steal. And it makes sense to have 2 people or more on the bottom. One is going to parry on top of the crystal, and one is going to melee the crystal. The parry will be able to block other opponents that are trying to make a quick dash for it if they're trying to steal it, and the normal melee is obviously to secure it. So let's think about that intro and the scenario that we were met with. You're pushing base and everyone dies, and you're like, what happened? The Rejuvenator can solve this problem. Base fights can last a long time. They can last up to 30 seconds, minutes, stuff like that. So having that second life in your back pocket is going to let you offset the respawn timers of the opponents and let you take the advantageous fight. A 2v2 trade is advantageous for you because you're going to respawn quicker than the opponents. If you watch my replay analysis on my game versus Shroud, we go into a lot of this thinking in that video. We go into offsetting respawn timers and we go into why we were going for Midboss and what made it advantageous for us. If you want good examples, you can look there, or we're going to do some at the end of the video here too. You really need to solidify your thinking of the flow of the mid-boss cycle as the game goes on. Kind of plays out like this. Teams are equitably strong, or one team is in the lead. Someone screws up. They either get picked, they're playing corners in the map, something like that. Someone is dead, and it makes a window for the other team to go take mid-boss. The team in the advantage goes into mid-boss, they start the fight. Whoever ends up with the Rejuvenation Crystal cycles around the map and tries to take as many walkers, base guardians, shrines as they can within that 3-minute window while they have their rejuvenation buff. Once that is about to tick out, a couple seconds before, they back out and they reset and they farm the map. They try to keep people in the base by sieging the outside and farming the map outside. Within this window, someone has that 4-minute timer in between the 3-minute rejuvenation ending and the 7-minute respawn. They're stalling for the next Rejuvenator to come up because it's the safe option. Sometimes you can force the fight, you can run into the base and you're stronger, but the safe option is to play for the next Rejuvenator and that cycle continues. Someone screws up, etc, etc. Once you work this flow into your gameplay and you understand the importance of having the Rejuvenator for making pushes, you're going to end up winning more team fights and being able to close out games more efficiently. I think that's the biggest takeaway of this video. Understanding that flow of the mid-boss cycle and knowing when to initiate it or even hunt it down to get it started. Alright, let's look at some heroes that help us secure the Rejuvenator as it's falling. I'm going to go through some notable heroes and note which abilities make them powerful for taking Rejuvenator fights and how that can really play out. Seismic Impact on Abrams is able to stun an entire team, and it can provide a very easy in for that fight. If he goes up top and then comes down with a Seismic Impact, even from the side, he's able to stun a large AoE and then melee that Rejuvenator crystal. Bebop can displace a single hero or maybe two, but it's not really the best hero for going for mid-boss. From my experience, I haven't played enough Bebop to be sure of it. Dynamo has Singularity and also Kinetic Pulse. Singularity is an exceptional ability to have to steal Rejuvenator, but Dynamo typically needs a secondary hero with him to capitalize on his ult holding everyone in place. A Grey Talon Guided Owl could provide an opportunity for someone on your team to melee, but it's kind of unlikely. Haze's Bullet Dance could potentially wipe a team that's waiting for the Rejuvenator to fall, but Haze needs a lot of farm to do this. Typically needs like a Ricochet and a maxed out Bullet Dance fixation combo for this to actually work out. Infernus can combo a Flame Dash into a Concussive Combustion in order to stun everyone near the Rejuvenator crystal. If this is done right and timed correctly, he can easily steal the Rejuvenator and run away with the game. Ivy's Stone Form is a great stun that can happen on top of the Rejuvenator crystal to allow for a steal to happen. Kelvin's Frozen Shelter is an amazing tool to get the Rejuvenator crystal into your team's hands. Essentially, you pop Frozen Shelter a few seconds before the Rejuvenator crystal hits the ground, and the Rejuvenator crystal can even phase through the actual shelter itself. And what it's going to allow is for you to hit the crystal uncontested, assuming you don't freeze anyone else in there with you. I've seen Lash have two options for stealing the Rejuvenator. One is a well-timed Death Slam and in the right spot, and the option that I've seen people use a lot is the displacement of Ground Strike. Since it's such a quick ability to come out, you're able to pop people in the air with the level 2 Ground Strike, and it gives you enough of a window to melee the crystal. McGinnis can actually use Spectral Wall and send it out onto the crystal to A, split the fight in half, and then B, stun the enemies that are going for it as well. If you show up early enough to a Rejuvenator fight, Pocket can do some serious damage. Pocket thrives with long fights such as a Rejuvenator fight where people are kind of clumped up in single spaces, and Pocket will be able to get a good affliction off on many people in one AoE. Seven can pretty quickly take over the room by storm clouding pretty close to the ceiling. However, it can still be countered with knockdown, and there's other ways around it, but definitely some serious damage can come out from Storm Cloud. Viscous has a whole bunch of displacement and stun, but we'll probably need another hero with them to be able to actually capitalize on that displacement and stun. Due to how Goo Ball works, you can't really melee the crystal while you're rolling around, basically. Warden likes Rejuvenator fights similar to how to Pocket does because of Last Stand. Because you're going to have a whole bunch of people on like the same level, all clumped up together, it's a really great opportunity for you to lifesteal off of all of them and take a fight away. But there's no real innate ability to steal a crystal besides damage. Wraith's able to telekinesis a whole team with a level 3 ult. However, you can actually still melee while telekinesis. So it's kind of like one of those deceptive abilities where you think that you can't really act in it, but you could still secure the crystal although you're Wraith ulted. That's my thoughts on Rejuvenator fights and like hero specific abilities to make them go right. Let me know down in the comments if there's any other heroes in here that you think make really good Rejuvenator fighters, but I maybe don't have the experience on the hero to accurately judge that right now. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage from a game I played last night where we had the lead and we successfully transitioned that lead into a win through playing around picks and getting that mid-boss take and then fighting after the fact. So I wanted to show you what this mindset looks like in action, and I also left my comms in there. That's going to play out from here on out. Also, this was a front page game. You can notice in the top left, there's spectators for it. So it was in the top 4 out of like 10,000 active games. Proud of it, but yeah, this is a high skill game, so it wasn't just noob stomping or anything like that, and I think I did pretty well. I do appreciate each and every viewer. It matters a lot, honestly. It's kind of surprising. This is my first YouTube channel. This is like my 6th video, and it's kind of amazing to see how fast this has grown. So my content's going to keep being like this. It's going to keep on being analytical, of high-level thinking about Deadlock, and helping new players get into the game and understand the thinking that long-term MOBA players can have. So if you want to keep learning about MOBAs, drop a sub. It's going to stay like this. We'll also be live streaming on YouTube and Twitch starting soon. My Twitch link will be in the description. I really do read each and every comment. It's getting harder to react and interact with all of them. There's so many at this point, but I really am reading all of them and I take your feedback into account. So if you have anything to say or any video ideas, I am reading them, and I'm glad to make videos on ideas that you guys have. I think that's how I understand your perspective as much as you can understand mine. So thanks for coming back to this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Nice. Here's the pick. Go more or mid?
Up to you guys, I'm coming.
They're still fighting.
Oh, that works.
I'm dead.
Good night.
Coming to mid.
I'll have safe passage. Definitely mid.
Are we winning?
Are you winning, son?
Sweet dreams. Me?
Hello? I'll drop right.
Wanna fight now? Cause
Yeah, go fight orange. Go fight orange. Or blue or something, and we meet in the middle. I think we should group, though, and force something. I'm going on Shiv.
The shadows embrace me. Slow burn.
all my FPS is dead.
Wraith died.
Thank you.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed. They only have one shrine left. Their patron is exposed. Our dominance is manifest. Their patron.
Enemies.
Yes.
What's up, Rejuv?
Good night.
Do I have your attention now?
Every soul of them will die.
Consumed by the sapphire flame.
Physis is a gamer.
Oh man.
Only the cunning will survive.
Find me.
Sweet dreams.
Yes, good guy.
You guy the goat, not gonna lie.
By me. Nice, very killable behind you guys. Everybody, Spider-Man.
Time to escape.
Good game.